Hello everyone, CrystalFissure here, and today I am looking at the Spyro Reignited Trilogy trailer. We're going to sort of analyze it a little bit more in depth than what I did on my stream. I mean, on the stream I talked about it a heap, but this is sort of more about focusing in on each individual element of it. Because overall, I am positive about this. I've seen reaction has varied. I would say overall it's pretty positive, because people are very excited about Spyro being back. I guess most of the critique really comes from color theory or their perceptions of what looks correct or more valid to the original series. My opinion on that is surprisingly, to some of you, more restrained in that I actually like some of the changes, notably what they're about to see there especially. I think everything looks pretty damn unreal for the most part. So there's the Trilogy logo, very cool, very modern, but still the exact Spyro we know and love. So the first thing to note here, as I pan through this slowly, is that look at Spyro's lack of sort of, he's not a furry animal, but lack of really, really distinct scales. They're actually going for a more, I guess, sort of painted on art style, sort of a more cartoony art style, which is kind of the opposite of Insane Trilogy in terms of, Spyro had fur. I actually prefer this style because Spyro never really would look good being ultra realistic per se. I actually really like this interpretation of him, and you're gonna see right here. For example, look at Toasty. The distance now we can get in the background, we can actually see mountains and we can actually see stuff in the background. That just absolutely is fantastic to me. The shepherds there look pretty damn cool. The dogs are more cartoony there. I prefer them in the original version, but I like that they still did their pounce and everything like that. I like the turning circle of Spyro. Look at the way he kind of turns. I think I've got a feeling the controls for this are going to feel really good. Then we've got Blowhard here, which is feeling less purpley, sort of green in the original version, but the one thing to note is look at what happens when you ignite the enemy there. The grass actually turns, it gets charred. Phenomenal. I mean, that is the kind of level of detail that we should be having in PlayStation 4 games now. Anyway, I love that the dodge roll here is featured in Ice Cavern, it appears to be. Very, very cool. Notably, in the trailer, there's only red gems. You pretty much see them. Maybe, I think there's a green one or something like that, but they're clearly not everything is actually in this level. Do you know what I mean? Then we have a shot here. Have a look at that. That is Lofty Castle. Now, we've got a lot of complaints about Lofty Castle being too dark here. I like their interpretation of it, but again, this is not final. Notice how you actually cannot see any of the fairy things and stuff like that, or many of the gems and stuff. A lot of the content is actually not there yet. This is the stuff that impressed me the most though, however. This is the Beast Maker's Homeworld, and man, is this exactly what I'm looking for in a remaster. This is where they take the original source material and they transform it into something cooler, if you ask me. Beast Makers is a great homeworld in Spyro 1, but the cool thing about this is that it feels like it's its own thing while still paying homage to the original source material, of course. Then we have Toasty again. Notice the stained glass window is not there. I can almost guarantee you in the final release that will be there, because look at the gems. See, they're kind of floating weird. These are not finished 100% final levels with all the assets placed in them. But what we see so far is great, and I just love, out in the distance again, being able to see that. We're going to see some incredible looking levels in the future with, all of the detail. Then we have here Toasty. This is one of the first things they worked on, and I love it how much more menacing Toasty truly is. That's the thing I get from this. Toasty is a menacing, scary beast. I like it. And then, of course, he's a sheep. Then we got the 3 games again. The dragons. This is one that is going to annoy a lot of people, the turban type thing. But you know what? I actually like the fact that they're going to hopefully, they'll be able to differentiate between the dragons a little bit more. Copeland actually said that the artisans always kind of reminded him of Asia a little bit, so I kind of see that. The egg thieves. That is a very, very quick shot there. It is kind of terrifying. And the Nork, look at him. He is a big boy. He is thick. Blowhard again. How cool is the idea of having windmills in there? I think that's actually a really cool idea. That's a great idea. And there's something else later on that I want to show off in a sec. But yeah, here is Dry Canyon. Very, very nice. I can't wait to see that level in full. I can't wait to see every level, to be honest. We're only just getting started. Look at that though. I mean, yeah, like these sort of levels, I like, you know, the pillars and stuff like that. They're looking very, very cool. This bit is my favorite bit of the trailer. So look at that right here. Look at the snow there. Look at the snow. That is beautiful. We have a bookcase in Dark Hollow, what appears to be. That is Misty Bog. That is Beastmakers again. I can't wait to see some more Dreamweaver stuff as well. That bit there, that's what I want to see. Like this is the kind of creativities that I'm a fan of. You know, the art style actually grows on me all the time. I personally, yeah, really am enjoying this. And if you're not, that's okay. And, you know, I've seen some of the color theory stuff people have talked about, you know, with changing it. I think things will be changed. Things are not final, but, you know, as a first thing, this is what Insane Trilogy, I personally think they've done a better job than what the Insane Trilogy had done at the start. If you ask me, I don't know what you guys think, but that's kind of impression I've got, that they've done a slightly better job. Not that Insane Trilogy was bad as well. Anyway, let's have a look at the trailer one more time before we get back to some more images. Just some general thoughts. It's just exciting to have Spyro back, and you know, I've talked about that you know, in the stream ad nauseum. For some reason the stream's a little bit glitchy right now. You can't watch like the whole thing, some of you. But look, that to me is classic Spyro. That is actually classic Spyro. Artisan's Castle has a door now, by the way, like a proper door, which is kind of cool. The skyboxes are the one thing where I think that I would love to see them do more with the skyboxes. For example, the skybox there in Toasty, pretty cool. A little bit static, but I still think overall good. I just think it needs just a little bit more color depth, I guess. HDR, is that the right word to use? Probably not. But yeah, there's just so many levels I'm looking forward to seeing. You know, like just I could name more, like Dark Passage. How menacing is that going to be? We haven't seen anything from Spyro 2 or Spyro 3 yet. It's, you know, again though, it's hard to judge. I know that Square Jack said something about how, you know, you can't really say whether it's going to be good or bad until you've actually played it. I think, you know, graphically, yeah, essentially this is being judged graphically, but, you know, of course, until we actually get gameplay, it's going to be hard to know how this is going to be. But the very little of gameplay we see, it should be okay. Hopefully, it needs to be better than passable. Absolutely needs to be better than possible. We need to see how gliding and hover work, but we won't be able to see hover until later on. I just like the way Spyro moves it. I actually like the bounciness quite a lot, and I like that shot there as well. Yeah, look, I would love to see a new Spyro game. You know, a lot of people say, why do you care about the remasters? Why do you want this? I want to see a new Spyro game, and this is the way that we get to a new Spyro game. People like Ratchet 5 and stuff like that, who are overwhelmingly negative about this, simply do not understand how business works. And yes, in an ideal world, it would be great to just jump to a new Spyro game. But the reality is, and people need to accept this, the objective reality is that it has been almost 2 decades since we have seen the classic Spyro games. It has been years and years and years. This is a way of reintroducing it to a newer audience. I know, because I know people say this, they go, why don't you just play the originals? Yes, you can absolutely play the originals. I would recommend that before playing these. But to the people that can't or don't want to, that's okay. The PlayStation 4 is a popular console. It's now coming out in the Xbox One, so the sort of multi-platform thing is coming back, which is good for the consumer overall. There's just a lot to be excited about. And then they can do, you know, a true Spyro 4. And I know that's what we, you know, pretty much everyone wants. Everyone that's happy about the remaster is happy, but I'd say that most of you, if you were asked, do you want a new Spyro game? I think we know that the answer would be a pretty resounding yes, after this one, of course. So you've all seen this. I tweeted this out before. This is on their website. There's quite a high version of this image. This is fantastic. This actually looks like High Caves, I guess. Like it's sort of an icier High Caves. I like the interpretation that High Caves is, yeah, icier. This is again our old mate. I'm looking for the name. I'm completely blanking on it. It is Misty Bog. There we go. I'm keeping that in because I actually struggled, and I like it. I like that it's all bright and stuff like that. It's different to the other ones. This is of course in Stone Hill, and don't you love all the sort of plants and stuff like that, and vines and stuff like hanging off it. It's great, but this is possibly my favorite screenshot I've seen so far. This to me encapsulates. It 100% encapsulates treetops to me. It is what treetops would be in a modern setting. I'm sorry, this to me, if you say this does not look like Spyro, I just think you're wrong. I think this looks excellent right down to the skybox and everything. A tremendous job. And this was the first image leaked as well, showing off treetops. This is what made me just love it, just the background, everything like that. High caves here. Controversial. Some people don't like it, others do. I can see where people think it looks a little bit too Skylanders-esque. I can see that, but I think that if they sort of added it, made it, give the skybox a little bit more of a colorful flair, I think a lot of people's problems would be alleviated. I can't wait to see this supercharged bit. Now, anyway, here's the box art. Now, I don't know, maybe 70-80% sure this will not be the final box art. This is just a placeholder box art, much like that Insane Trilogy one, which is cool. You know, like, it's a cool box art. It's a one that sort of, you know, looks like Spyro. To me, it encapsulates Spyro again. But I think that the bigger one will be, you know, the final one will be more ambitious. And then here, Xbox One, and this is the interesting thing. And I talked about this during the stream as well, but it coming out on Xbox is really actually important, I think, because it may not be out on the Switch now, but they can basically double their sales. It's as simple as that. They can double their sales, and that would be very important to them. I think Crash coming first, it paves the way for Spyro to potentially be more successful with all the Numbskull merch and the t-shirt merch and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway guys, I have outlived my usefulness here. I'm going to wrap it up. But yeah guys, I'm very excited where this is going to go. I can't wait to see more. We're going to get plenty of updates, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll get a demo at some point in a few months. There's still, you know, about 5 months until the game's out. It's very close to release with another Insomniac game, you know, that was it the Spider-Man, that's right, yeah, which is going to be good fun. I love Spider-Man as well. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to talk about this plenty. We're going to do it to death because you know what I'm like. Alright guys, thank you very much for all your support. Please be sure to subscribe and check me out elsewhere. And I'll be back very soon. Enjoy this CrystalFissure ending.
Just like that?
Yep, just like that, Trent. We've got tons of special guests in the house. And of course, for some odd reason,